Welcome to Pod Strangely Warmed. I'm Daniel Hawkins, your host today, and it is summertime in Texas, which means it is hot. Yesterday it was 105 degrees, and that means for many of us that we try to escape Texas during this time of year. I know I'm super excited to make the New Mexico mountains here in about a month, and it will be wonderful. While many of us are looking at vacations and trying to find different ways to escape Texas in the summer, our folks from Project Transformation are diving deep into active, ongoing ministry, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We are joined today by Lynne Rhodes, the Executive Director of Project Transformation, and Rosie, one of our chief interns. What's your official title, Rosie?
Site coordinator.
Site coordinator. Rosie, you have been with PT for 4 summers now. So either it's terrible and you just make bad decisions again and again and again, or there's something really good to your spirit, to your soul, and that's part of what we want to explore today. Lynne, for those of us who don't know anything about PT, how would you describe Project Transformation for somebody who's just hearing about it for the first time today?
Yeah, so a lot of people say to me, oh, is it a literacy program? And that's kind of the first place that I start. It's not really a literacy program per se, but what it is it's a safe space to do day camp for children in neighborhoods so that they can come and have fun. It's not school, but they're learning. We call it sneaky learning because we use a curriculum that is fun, but it's engaging. We're working with them to do social emotional learning skills, which is very important for them to be able to regulate their emotions. And we do have a component that focuses on literacy because literacy is important. You want kids reading on task, right? And so we hire college-age young adults to implement our program for us, and we host it in churches, primarily United Methodist churches, in each of our chapters so that they can have a deeper connection to their community and function at a deeper level. So it's kind of a hard elevator speech because there's a lot of moving parts, and I find that it really is 4 C's. The 4th C is community.
Okay.
I mean, that's a huge, huge part of what we're doing is we're not a program that comes in and occupies a space. We're a program that partners with, and then it becomes this very nuanced, what does this community want and need and see for itself? Yeah. So it's a coming alongside and a building of deep relationships. And we hope to walk with these kids for a really long time. So we like to stay in one place for as long as we possibly can so that the kids are able to grow through all of their elementary school levels. So we work with 1st grade through 6th grade.
Okay.
And as they age out, our goal is, since we're a younger chapter here in the Central Texas Conference, our goal is to then age with them into junior high school and then eventually into high school so that we have a continuous program through all of their years, which I think would be so cool. I know that's true for some of our older chapters, and so we have that same goal.
Very good. You mentioned 4 C's, and I think I heard for sure one of them, community.
Yes.
The other 3 are children, churches, and college-age young adults.
That's correct.
That's the intersection of those 4 things. And as you were talking about sneaky learning, I couldn't help but think of, all the mom blogs that are telling you how to sneak cauliflower into macaroni and cheese and, all of that kind of stuff, right? It's
that's us.
That's y'all. Okay. What a powerful experience, though, to invite young people, because you want to talk to an educator. One of the things they say is summer learning loss is a real deal. And especially coming out of the last couple of years with education disruptions due to the pandemic and any number of other things. We're at a particular season where this kind of ministry is deeply needed, but also kids need that community of people who care about them, right, who are consistently there for them. One of the things that all the studies show is that if a kid can have one adult outside of the people who are supposed to, who cares about them and is invested in them, right, it makes all the difference in the world. And Rosie, you're a 4 summers person. And now, have you been at the same site for all 4 of those summers?
Sadly, no. Okay. I had 2 with university. Then my last one before this one was Meadowbrook. And then this year I went New Riverside.
Okay. And New Riverside is a new site this year.
Yes, it is.
Tell me a little bit about launching something new.
Wow. It was an experience. Of course, the pastor there, Armando, he's amazing. I tell you everything about him. He wants to be engaged with the kids, with this tag time that we have with them. He always wants to be able to be involved with that, and we enjoy him. Yeah. But also, as far as just connecting with us, he always wants to make sure we're taken care of. He wants to make sure he's interacting with us on a daily basis, but he's also making sure we're supported in every way possible, which is amazing.
That is fantastic. What does a standard day look like for you as the site coordinator at New Riverside?
Yeah, so a little bit about being a site coordinator. It starts off as thinking of it as like a principal in the aspect.
Okay.
Because we check in, we talk a little bit with the parents, making sure that they feel comfortable and welcome. Then we get the chance to move around, oversee what they're doing in all the classrooms. Also get the chance to kind of be in a component sometimes. I will go in and sit with the kids, kind of do some of their assignments with them, making them feel a little bit more engaged, read with them sometimes. But outside of that, I get the chance to talk with my interns, make sure that they feel motivated to do what they're doing and feel prepared, because sometimes they may feel like they're not doing the best. And I'm always able to see from outside looking in that they may not feel like they are doing everything that they can, but they really are. We can tell that they're loving their kids.
Yeah.
They're making them feel like they're capable of being where they are. And they always feel like at the end of the day, the kids love them. So that's always what I ask for.
Amen. If we can leave with kids knowing that they are loved, right, and invested in, that's a huge, huge deal. What's the biggest difference for you between your first summer and your fourth summer?
Oh,
right?
huge difference.
Lynne talks about investing in college-age young adults, right, and
Yeah.
cultivating leadership, and part of what we're aiming for here, right, is I loved on the last episode of the podcast, right, the Ministry Incubators folks referenced that Howard Thurman quote, right, of giving people a crown to grow into, right? How is your experience different year 4 than year 1?
I would say that quote speaks for itself for my experience with PT, because I started off as just a general intern, doing all those components with the kids, so feeling like more like a teacher. And then eventually I moved up to site coordinator my second year, and that was shocking because me in a leadership position already made me nervous, but I felt welcome and very confident after a while. And then the year before I did the house pastor position, and I was like, this is a lot because I get to oversee all the interns. And that year, it was the COVID year that we first had, and I was so afraid that it wouldn't feel the same. Of course, it was a little different. It had a lot of differences, but it was able to give everybody a chance to kind of slow down and look back on what we were really here for. Like, of course, we're looking at the literacy, but giving back to the families was so important at that time. So I was glad to be in that house pastor position to be able to work with the interns and make them feel well adjusted to what the change is looking like. But also coming back this year was a huge change for me, coming back to do site coordinator again, because I was like, well, I've done this before, but will it be the same? Because it's a different team, different site, and it was. And I had to take that into consideration, that it's going to be a different growth for me to kind of see myself doing the leadership in a different space, in a different headspace, and knowing now that I can actually do this is surprising to me. I shock myself every day. So I'm like, well, hey, if you want to do this, this is something you can do in the long run. Continue doing leadership roles and take it in and say, well, hey, you got this, without saying, well, I don't know, I might have to step back.
Yeah. Well, that is such a fantastic thing, because giving that, the thing I love about that quote, right, is it trusts, right? There's an inherent trust that says, I mean, because when I think about at 19 years old, I was a really bad youth director. Why on earth I was ever hired to be a really bad, well, they didn't hire me to be a bad youth director. They just got a bad youth director at 19, right? Why on earth, right? And yet, each one of those steps is a learning process, right? Each one of these summers has been in all the different roles, right? It's one in which, you are growing and you are thriving, and all of a sudden New Riverside is thriving this summer in a way that it wouldn't without you. And you are here in part because of the experiences and things you've had over the last couple of years. And so is there one specific moment that comes back where you look back and go, oh, they trusted me with this? Why on earth did, and yet here you are, and yet, it came into being, you made it through.
Yeah, it first started off with my kids, because I was very shocked to hear some of them be like, oh, you're the site coordinator, or you're the principal, and they were like really surprised to kind of see somebody like me in that position. Of course, I'm not the youngest one, but of course they were like, well, you look like you also talk the way you talk. And I was like, at first a little okay, where are we going with this? But after a while I was like, well, I can tell they feel a little inspired a little bit. And then with my interns, they kind of said, well, I wouldn't know what this summer would look like without you. And I was sitting there in awe. Because I was like, first, it starts with the kids. But then when you hear from your interns, you're kind of like,
Yeah.
Don't make me emotional. I'm gonna cry. So
Yeah.
I was like really surprised to understand that I was doing a big difference from a lot of different places. And it just touched my heart to hear that.
Such a powerful thing, right? Because here you are having been invested in, and now you're investing in the other college age young adults too.
Yeah.
Right. It's that mutual investment. It's that growing in leadership that we see that is good for you today, but also it will be interesting to see what God does with that in the years to come. Lynne, you get to embody what I think of as the preacher on mission trip role, where you swoop in
Yeah.
and you check in on things, and sometimes you bring snacks.
That's so true.
Tell me about your experience this summer in particular. I know we've been growing out of kind of the pandemic summer, and the number of kids participating in each group is growing each year, and the program's kind of building. You named one of the goals is to kind of have it grow and age up with the students as they age up. But give me a window into what this summer looks like.
Yes, it's been a really great summer. I have to say, this is just such a great group of interns. They're fantastic. And one of the things that I think you touched on that I think is really important is when we hire college-age young adults, we don't assume that they come with all the skills intact. And I think that's different. I had one of them say to me last night, you take a risk on us, and because all of the job applications that they've filled out say, 3 years experience, 2 years experience, right? And so we know that going in is that these are skills that you're going to develop on the fly, and that can be really nerve-wracking. And so we're at site all the time.
For everybody involved. Yeah.
So we're at site all the time, mentoring and encouraging and nurturing, because our job isn't to step in and do the job for them. It's to empower each intern to be able to lean into their skills and their assets as they have them, because each intern has a unique set of skills and assets. So watching that develop and grow is everything. So I have one intern, and she is going to be a teacher, and I can tell she's going to be a great teacher. So she thought this would be a perfect internship for her. So she is at a site that has an awful lot of young ones. So they have a lot who are just not yet readers, but going to be readers, and they've missed some of the education they would have gotten because of the pandemic. And so she set up a classroom and set up a lot of different tasks and things for the kids to do. And she called me one day almost in tears, like happy tears. She's like, I had my first child read a word, read words. And it was just like this moment where she's like, I can do this. This is the greatest moment ever. At that same site, I had another intern who said, you know what, I want to do an exercise on coral. I want them to learn everything about the ocean. And she spent so much time cutting out little coral pieces and prepping this lesson, and the artwork turned out beautiful. And she got to lean into her unique and particular skill, which was very different than some others. And I love that. I love that because we work from an asset-based understanding of everything rather than a deficit base. We're not trying to see what needs to be done to shore people up. We're asking, what is everybody's God-given gifts and talents, and how can we come alongside and help create safe spaces and help resource those so that everybody can live into that,
Yeah.
So we watch that with our interns. It's a beautiful thing, and I'm watching them grow, and I think there's probably too many stories, but it's fun. It's fun. And we love to have guests if anybody ever wants to come and take a tour of site while it's happening. We'd love to have them do that.
That's where kind of my head was going next, right?
Yeah.
One of the C's is churches, right?
It is.
And when you name that you're an asset-based kind of understanding of things, right? You look at what skills and gifts and opportunities are there already and utilize those rather than trying to make it all fit in a single box, right? I would imagine that the church partnerships look a little different from site to site. What are you looking for when you're looking for a church partner? And what are some ways that, because, this is the annual conference podcast, so a lot of people who are listening to this are like good churchy people, right? What are some ways that churches are partnering with PT to invest in this work, right? Because sometimes in churches we try to recreate the wheel and make everything our program rather than saying, look, PT's better at doing these 5 things than we are as a local church, so let's partner up with you guys and invest in the mission and ministry through you guys, right? What are some ways that churches can connect in that one of your 4 C's?
Yeah, and I do think you're right. In some cases, it's kind of unique to each church and what they can bring to it. But in general, Partner churches either provide resources such as curriculum supplies, maybe food for the interns. We feed them. Our goal is to make sure that a college student can put most of that stipend that we pay them away and hold on to it. So one of the ways that we attempt to do that is we provide housing, we provide pay, and then we provide most meals so that they can truly hold on to that and keep that. So it takes a lot of people helping to make that happen. So we have folks bringing food every night. We have folks that are supplying all kinds of things at site, snacks. We have them providing books. We take in lots of books. Right now, I will say we have more books than we can do anything with. So maybe we're going to wait a year on taking books in. But that's just generosity, right?
Yeah,
to have
yeah.
all of those books. We have volunteers who sort the books, who code the books, who build libraries for us. We have folks who volunteer for Family Fun Night, who just provide human resources of serving food and playing games. Of course,
I know we're hosting family night at
Yeah.
the Bedford location here in a couple weeks, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
it's a big block party. It's
Yeah.
a celebration of everything that has gone on, right?
Yeah.
So everybody's there. The staff is there. The site folks are there. The hosts are there. All the partners, the kids, the parents. It's a chance for everyone to get together and just celebrate what we've done. But in addition to that, you can volunteer to read, which is a huge thing. Our promise is that every child will read one-to-one with a volunteer every single day that they're in our program. That's a huge difference. That's about 25 hours of one-to-one reading that a child can get. So our literacy dosage is pretty high compared to other summer programs, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
So a lot of volunteers, that's why they think of us as a literacy program. That's one of the main places they might engage. But there's so many others. And then, of course, there's financial support because we're a nonprofit. It takes money to keep the doors open and keep all the wheels rolling.
Say what?
Yeah. So that's another way that a lot of partners support us is either through taking up funds as a church or putting us in their budget. So that's always really great.
Very good. Very good. And one of the things I'm excited for family night that's coming up here in a couple
I'm
weeks.
so glad you're doing it.
Our Tongan community has taken the lead in kind of organizing that for us, and so it's going to be luau themed, and there's going to be a whole roast pig cooked in the dirt, and it's going to be good.
It's going to be so
It's going to be
exciting.
quite tasty.
Yeah.
My inner fat boy is rejoicing, and it's quite fantastic. And I hope and pray that it's an experience. Like, one of the unique things about our Bedford community, right, is that we're this multi-ethnic, multilingual community, and part of what we're intending with Family Night is to express that in a way that connects to the kids, connects to the community, and makes a real difference. One of the things that separates you guys from being just a literacy program, right, is that there's some faith introduction and faith formation work that happens over the course of the week. Talk to me a little bit about what that looks like.
Yeah, so we do, as Rosie mentioned, we have something called Tag Time, which of course is an acronym for Talk About God.
Okay.
So that is built into.
I didn't know if we were just like running around outside. Tag, you're in. Okay, but makes more sense now. Yes.
Yeah, so it's built into the curriculum. It's first thing in the morning, and it's a chance to sit down when the kids are just ready to go. So first they have a harambe, which is everybody gets together and moves and gets up and dances or whatever the curriculum suggests for that day. And then after everyone's checked in, they have a chance to sit down and talk about God. And so we connect character traits and character building through Bible stories during this tag time. And sometimes our interns really enjoy leading it. Some of our interns come from faith-based backgrounds, and they're like, yes, this is what I want to do. I want to lead tag time. Other times we have clergy who come. That's one of the ways that our church's partner is somebody's like, I want to come and do that. Other times we have the host pastor, like Armando, really loves to come in and build those relationships with the kids because we're inviting our host churches to build deep relationships with the families in the community, and tag time is one of those ways to do it. So it's really creative, but it is part of our curriculum, and we have a curriculum that is internal to Project Transformation that serves all 9 of our chapters.
Okay.
And so that's written in-house by Dr. Julie Wilkie, and she does such a phenomenal job of really thinking through how to connect kids to a great curriculum, but it's something that's adaptable by interns, which I find is a hard job that she does well.
I'm glad she's doing it and not me.
Yeah, same.
It's not a simple task. Rosie, I am so excited to hear what you've already shared with us, right? It is such a gift to be able to hear about your growth over these last 4 years, right?
Yeah.
what is different about PT, having lived in it for 4 years, than you thought you were signing up for 4 summers ago?
Man, I wasn't expecting it to be more like we always stay together kind of thing. Like, of course, like you can move around and do everything that you want, but it kind of reminds you like you're back at school. But you get the chance to build that community even more. Sometimes you might get a group of people that don't mind being around each other all the time. Then you get others that are like, I don't want to be here at all, so I'm going to leave when I can. But every summer, they like to stay. Everybody wants to be together.
Yeah.
They always want to act like, oh, let's separate for a little while. But then eventually I get that phone call. Can we meet up? Can we do this? Let's hang out. And I love that because for me, I love building relationships. I love community all the time. But just getting a chance to see the dynamic difference is hilarious because sometimes I'm always the person that's like feeling like the mother of the group sometimes because everybody's like, oh, she's going to make sure we're fed good. She's going to make sure we have a good time. But she's also going to make sure that, you know, we feel like a family eventually. Yeah. So I love the chance to just spend time with them as much as I can.
Okay.
Yeah, we have an intern community. And so every Wednesday night we get together and do something in community. And last night we had a karaoke party.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was a lot of
Hilarious.
fun. And Rosie cooked.
I did cook.
Oh, nice. What was on the menu?
Salmon and shrimp.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Next time, you know, I'm gonna make sure Lynne's got my number. Make sure I get that invite next time. That sounds really good. The karaoke night, that is fantastic and fun, and a sign of real trust within a community.
Exactly.
Because you don't karaoke if you don't trust people.
You don't.
It just doesn't happen. So, well, very good. Thank you for giving us a window into that. Right, and you mentioned that we house our interns. Part of I believe that happens at Texas Wesleyan, right?
It does.
And
it does. They are a great partner. Texas Wesleyan works really hard to make sure that we have a solid place to house our interns and that they're well cared for. So we're happy to partner with them. Our office is there as well. So
well, there you go. It helps that way, and it helps create those connections and relationships. Right, everybody goes out to their sites and then they come back, and it does create that kind of community. Rosie, I'm curious. What's next for you after that? You got school coming in the fall, and then what are sort of long-term life plans? Where is this investment that PT is making in you? Where do you see it flourishing in the future? Where do you hope to use these skills that have been cultivated within you?
I am personally trying to become a counselor one day.
Oh, nice.
So right now I go to Dallas Baptist University. I'm studying to be a professional counselor. So eventually I do hope to get into that world and step into that role of being somebody's counselor. But I do want to have my own practice one day. So I feel like this chapter has been amazing to me by making sure that every year I learn something new about myself, but also in the leadership side, I'm like, you know, the confidence level is high. Like I started off my first summer like nervous, shy, don't want to speak at all. But now they have really opened my heart, but also opened my mind to kind of think differently about myself. And I feel like that is what is going to take me to the next level, is making sure that, you know, I learn the skills and the tools that can prepare me to become a counselor one day.
Yeah. You've proved to yourself you can do hard things.
The hard things, man.
Working with Lynne, trust me, I did it for 5 years. It's a hard thing sometimes. No, just kidding. Well, very good. I'm so thankful that you've said yes for 4 summers in a row to PT. And I'm so thankful for the environment that we've created, right, that helps invest in future leaders that will help shape and form our community. And, you know, I hope that in the small way that the work that these last 4 years helps those who you counsel for the next 40 years, right, and those who you help come alongside and enter into a space of thriving. Lynne, if there was any lasting message that you wanted people to hear today when it comes to ways to connect to PT or just the heart of PT, what would you want people to hear as kind of the final thing if they heard nothing else today, right?
Yeah. You know, we love what we're doing. We just love it. I mean, this chance to build community from the idea of starting at the table. That's really important. I think that for years and years and years, there was an idea that you would sit down and get an idea and craft that idea and then present that idea and hope that people came. And I don't see that as the way to build community. And so PT takes it really seriously that it's important to engage the community and ask who's not at the table Create the table, sit down, and
Yeah.
talk about what could a site look like in a community. Who needs to be there? What are the unique things that go into that? And how can we build something that's sustainable, that's safe,
Yeah.
that is diverse, that embraces everybody's assets, and that has longevity? And I think that's an interesting and maybe new way to approach things. It shouldn't be new, but I think it is new because we have a tendency to really like our ideas.
Fair. We're great at creating problems
Yeah.
and then creating solutions for those problems.
Yeah.
Yes.